Welcome. In this video I'm going to be using a Raspberry Pi and a sensor to help with a problem I'm having with my water heater. So I'll splice some video in while I'm talking about this. My vent outside, my water heater has an intake vent and an exhaust vent, and the intake vent gets frost in it and it plugs it up. And when that happens, I get an error on my water heater. So on this control here, I know the first dot and the third dot light up, and I think one of them down here, I can't remember what. So what I'm going to do is get a sensor and put on here, a light sensor. So when this LED turns on, it triggers the Raspberry Pi to send me a notification email. And when that happens, I can go out and clean that vent. So the permanent solution is to move that vent somewhere else. But it's in the middle of winter and it's not a good time to do that. But right now, this will tell me when the problem occurs and then I can fix it. So let's look at the circuit I'm going to be using. Okay, so what I have here is a Raspberry Pi, and I have this kind of circuit board. This is old, so I'll put a link in the description to the things I'm using in this video. Some of these I already had, but I'll find some of these on Amazon that you can use. But I have a photoresistor here and a 1 microfarad capacitor here, and those are hooked into the GPIO pins here. And I found some articles online. I'll put links in the description to all of this. So the power comes in and hooks up to one half of the resistor, and then the other half goes to one end of the electrolytic capacitor, and the data line goes into that too, and the other end of the electrolytic capacitor goes to ground. So this is what's called an RC circuit, and I'm not an electrician. I don't understand exactly, I kind of understand how it works, but since the Raspberry Pi can only use digital inputs, this is an analog input. This is a way around that. So what it does is it measures the time to charge up and discharge this capacitor, and that changes with the light from the photoresistor. So when light enters the photoresistor, it changes the resistance, which changes the time, and then we can read that value. So in doing so, we can tell if there's more light or less light hitting this photoresistor. So let's look at the code I'm using to do this. Okay, so I'm SSH'd into a Raspberry Pi, and I downloaded this light sensor script, and like I said, I'll put a link in the description to these. And I've modified it a bit to send outgoing email through my Yahoo account. So I actually have two scripts here. We're going to look at the light sensor vid because the other one has my password in it. And it's just easier to modify this script to show you guys than it is for me to change all that in editing. What you need to do first off, if you use Yahoo or Gmail and probably other ones, you want to look up how to turn on insecure apps within your Gmail or Yahoo, and that would allow you to send SMTP mail out using like a script like I have here. Or if you have your own mail server, you might just be able to do it. So what we have in the script here, and I'm not a Python programmer by any means, so this may not look great. We're importing GPIO, we're importing time, and SMTP, that's for mail. Date time is used. Oh yeah, because we get the current time. This will all come together down below. We have a from address here, which would be the same as probably your email you're sending from, your account. So I have from address at yahoo.com. And then we have that down here also because that's part of our username and password. And then we have a subject, and I have water heater is down. I put the current date in there, and then I have a message that says water heater is down. And then we have the message here, and I copied this from something I found online. And then looks like we're importing SMTPlib twice. I'm not sure why I did that. Like I say, I'm not a Python developer, so. And then we have our username, which is the from address at yahoo.com, and then we have our password here for the Yahoo account. And this is some information about one of the scripts I used. And then it says GPIO set mode GPIO.board. I'm not completely sure what that does, but here we're defining the pin that goes to the circuit. I'm using pin 7. I think it's GPIO 4 is what it is. You can look up charts online. And then I set a threshold to 400. So I'll get this set up on that light later, and I may tweak that threshold. Right now I have it set to 400. So when it drops below 400, it will send an email. And then we have time between notifications, and I set that to 7,200 seconds, which is 2 hours. And that's so it doesn't send me multiple notifications, because that light may turn on and off during different cycles of when it's trying to start itself. What I want is that light will turn on, I'll get notified, I'll go clear the vent, and then the light will shut off. And then if it happens again within, like, say 10 minutes, that will have meant that I haven't cleaned it yet, and I don't want to resend me an email.
And last notification is just saying we haven't set any notification yet. So let me scroll down here. So this is the RC, the resistor capacitor circuit, and I don't understand exactly what all this is doing, but I kind of understand. We are setting the GPIO to low, or we're setting the GPIO out to low, I think, which would drain it. Maybe, I'm not sure, but this is doing different things. Then it sleeps for 0.1 seconds. I'm not sure how long that is. I don't know if that's seconds actually. And then we change it GPIO in, and then it says if the input on pin 7 equals low, count up by 1. So this is counting up until it goes high, I think is what that's doing. This counts, but you don't need to know exactly how this works. We'll see in a second how it works. And then if we go down here, so this is all in this loop. What we're going to do is we're going to say if the this RC time, so this is setting up like a method, and then we're going to run this loop here forever. It says while true, if the RC time pinned to circuit is less than the threshold, so this will return a number to us, and if it's lower than a threshold, which is 200, and the time in seconds is greater than the last notification plus the time between notifications, then it's going to send an email. And this is the part of the script that sends the email. And when you're going through this, you might want to pull some of this code out and test it to make sure you can send an outgoing email before you get the whole script running. And then it will print this test. When it sends the email, it's print test, and then it will set the last notification to time in seconds. And now we're out of this if statement here. We're back here, and this is just going to print that time. So we're comparing the time up here, but here it's just going to print it out. And then we have some other stuff that says GPIO cleanup. So I'll exit out of here, and then we'll run this script. If you're not familiar with scripts here, I'll show you this. You can type, if you download the script and modify it, you can type chmod +x and then lightsensor.py, and that will make it executable. And I've already done that. I'm probably going to make this script available download on my website. So look in the description and I'll put everything down there. So I'll run this script, lightsensor.py, and this is the one with my actual password in it. Okay, so you see we're seeing about 1600 right now. If I put my finger over the sensor, you'll see this goes up. So now it's at 8500. Okay. Now if I take a flashlight and shine it on there, you see it drop below 400, and it says, okay, the email was sent. So if I do it again, you see it will drop below 400, but it won't send the email a second time. So it would only do it 2 hours from now, and I'm not going to make this video 2 hours long so you can test it, but I did test it with a shorter time period. So now what we can do, we know that's working. It'll send me an email. It won't come in on this computer because I have notifications turned off. But what we want to do is have this script here run when the Raspberry Pi is started up. And then I'll take this circuit and I'll mount it onto the water heater, and then it should just work. I may need to calibrate that, the threshold amount. So if we want to run this when it starts, I'm in the downloads folder, so I can type pwd, and this is my directory here, and I can copy that. And my file is called lightsensor.py. What I want to do is I want to type in sudo space /etc/rc.local. And this is a script that you can put your own scripts in, and after the Pi boots, it will run the scripts in this folder. So I'll hit enter here. Pardon, I'll type sudo nano etc rc local. And then I'll scroll to the bottom here, and I'll do / and I will type in the name of the file. So I want this to run in the background, so I will type shift ampersand, and that will make it run in the background as a background process. And also I need to put the exit 0. I need to have this before the exit 0, so I'll delete that there. So I'll do that in Nano. I'll type Control-O to save it, Control-X to exit out. And now when the Raspberry Pi restarts, this will start that script up. Next, I'll take this circuit and I'm going to hook it up to the water heater, and then we'll return at that point. Okay, so I have this hooked up to the water heater. I was planning on soldering all this and like tidying it up, but I was not having much luck with the soldering iron. I don't have a great soldering iron, and this is temporary until springtime, which hopefully will be shortly. It's March right now, and it's very cold outside, but hopefully a month or so I won't have to deal with this. So I taped the sensor on there. I poked the leads through the tape and taped it on the third LED because I know that's one of them that turns on. And I hooked these wires up to where they were on the breadboard.
I kind of did like a little extension there, and it's hooked up in the same way. So now this is ready to go. I'll just need to log in and look at the current number being sent by this sensor and make sure the threshold makes sense, and adjust the threshold if necessary. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And remember, I put links to everything below, so if you buy any of this equipment through my affiliate link, it helps me out a little bit. And if you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.